If I'd asked you at the beginning of the year, who this year is going to give us a dual brushless motor ready to run RC car, you'd have not said Rlaarlo. However, here is a dual brushless RC car that you can buy and it's ready to run. Welcome to the channel, guys. I cut myself. Right, I'm only spinning cars in boxes from now on. This is the AK787 from Rlaarlo. This is their newest version. Inspiration obviously taken from the Mazda 787B. The first version was taken from the iconic Porsche and it even had the spare wheel in the back as well. That thing was awesome, and actually out of the box it was so fast that you run out of road very quickly. Oh shit! Anyway, this is their new one and I reckon it's probably out of the two the better looking one. They both look really nice. I just think this one looks a little bit nicer, especially in this colour. You can also get this one, which again, some nice classic livery on there. This one is the basic one. When I say basic, it's still loaded up, brushless. We'll do over 50 mile an hour out of the box on the stock gearing. Put the included gearing in and you're looking at probably 70 mile an hour, 100 to 120 kilometers an hour, I reckon, if you can find the right sort of road. I've already unboxed and reviewed this one and given it a run, so go check that out after this video. There's so many configurations of these, but this one I think is the best value at $199 currently on pre-sale. Absolute bargain for what you're getting. Whereas this one, in this configuration, will set you back $499 at the moment. That's the pre-sale for the ready to run dual brushless. I do have a confession to make though. I'm hoping that the actual ones out the factory look a little bit neater than mine. At the time of doing this video, you can't buy the ready to runs. They're not shipping out until the end of the month. So I've put this one together out of all the parts. I was lucky enough to get sent one early for review and they sent me all the parts for the dual conversion as well, including a spare motor and spare ESC. So I spent a few hours stripping the stock one down, getting all this set up in it, getting it running, making sure it works okay. And even on 2S, this thing is savage. You can run up to 4S on the ESCs. The motors aren't 4S capable, but I've run them 4S and I know other people run them 4S with no issues. And being that there's two of them there, two motors means there's less strain on them. So you got double the power. So I reckon 4S will be fine. Don't blame me if you blow them up, because like I said, they're only rated to 3. But it should be less strain on the drivetrain. Listen to that. One thing I am going to say, when this came for review, this was the stock carbon one, so single motor, single ESC and stuff. When I got it out of the box, it didn't roll very well. Yeah, it's that pinion is extremely tight. That is locked. Wow. So the mesh was that tight that it locked the wheels up. I did message Rlaarlo straight after and say, look, you need to be checking them out at the factory. So I'd be interested to know other people's experiences when they get these, that if your mesh is a bit tight as well. And one of the reasons I'm saying that is because when I set this one up, it was really difficult to get that mesh smooth like that. So as you can see, if I put it on the floor here, it rolls nice and free. So if one came out the factory on a single motor that wasn't meshed very well, I've got some slight concerns over how they're going to set these dual motor ones up. Look, it's my accent, right? Dual. We don't say dual in the UK, we say dual.
Dual.
Maybe I should just say twin motor. Anyway, it'd be interesting to see how well they set these up. It'll also be interesting to see if they do a better job of their cable management. I've said it in the past, I used to be an aircraft electrician. My last job as well was inspecting aircraft wiring to make sure it was the correct standard. Anyway, we won't talk any more about that. You've probably seen a handful of reviews of this carbon one. I chose to review this one first because I felt that that was the best value at $199. This is $299. The stock one of this is $299. Still good value on pre-sale. I think it goes up to $399 afterwards. But what I wanted to do with this one was to get the dual motors fitted, just to see how well it runs. Not much really to talk about under here, unless you've never seen a review of these before. Really well set up, metal throughout, bearings throughout, adjustable camber and toe, metal CVDs up front, big bore oil shocks, carbon shock towers, front and rear. This one's got a servo operated rear wing. Bit of a gimmick, but I think it's really cool. This one's also got discs and calipers, or rotors and calipers. Sway bars. It's fully loaded. You can buy the parts separately to convert it. Don't think you're going to be able to do it on this one. This one's got obviously some different holes and stuff to get their motor mounts in. It will be possible, but you'll have to modify the chassis on the earlier one. So the parts you get the motor mount, you get these for the battery support, you get some Velcro straps, you get some extra, you get some pads, you get this mount here which is for the servo, and then you get a smaller one that side. So the servo gets pushed up to the top there from down here, and then you get a new link that connects the steering up, and then obviously you just put your motor and ESC like that. You can get a gyro as well. I don't think the gyro comes with the motor mount set up, and I've not worked out how to use it properly yet. I've switched it all off. I need to find the instructions. So we've got two 2S lipos in there either side. Just to confirm, that means it's running 2S on this side, 2S on this side. I know some people get confused. I don't know how they're going to be geared out the box. I'll try and confirm it. I've got the smallest spur on there. It's a metal one and it's a 52 tooth, and the pinions I believe are 40. I did initially put these on, which are 45, which is the highest gearing you can go out the box, but it was cogging really bad. I mean, it still cogs a little bit now. We'll talk about that in a minute, but so I geared it down with the 45 tooth and the 52 spur. This will definitely go faster than 100 if you can keep it in a straight line, if you can find a nice smooth straight road. Geared it down to be a bit more sensible, but watch how savage it is. Still using the stock radio. Switch the main ESC on first, then the second one. Watch this. This is 2 cell, remember, 2S. So you can hear the cogging, listen. Look at that, that's crazy. So I've done a little bit of digging about the cogging issue, and I think what the reason is you can't, or not that I can see, you can't calibrate the ESCs. So you can do a calibration of the transmitter from what I can see, but on a lot of ESCs what you can do is put them in a setting mode, and then you set the throttle position so the ESC knows when you're full, neutral, reverse. I can't find anywhere where you can do that on the Rlaarlo one. So what I think's happening is the two motors are just very slightly out. So when you pull the trigger a little bit, one of them's trying to turn not just the gearing in the car, it's also having to overcome the other motor. Once they both get going, it's absolutely fine. And if you're really gentle on the throttle, you can get it going. So one of them's got the full weight of the car and the other motor on that initial takeoff. I'd be interested to know your thoughts on that, but that's what I think it is. Anyway, this thing's so heavy. Before I do any speed runs, I want to give this a proper rip around. Just going to run it on 2S. We're going to shred these tyres, because at the moment if you buy one of these dual motor ones, dual twin motor ones, you get some foam tyres. I reckon 2 cell is enough to take this for a quick rip round a car park, burn some rubber. Then we're going to take it out and do a proper speed run, 2S, 3S, and maybe, if we've got enough space, 4S. A few technical issues with the GoPro, so I didn't have any decent audio, but this thing, what a little ripper. It's got that much power that it just can't get traction when you're full throttle, but it drives so nice. I've seen people struggling to keep these things straight, and I know they're a little bit of a struggle when you're trying to do a speed run, but I think they drive actually okay. And as you can see here, I was able to fling it around one-handed and do some little pirouettes and get it straight again. So I don't find these a problem. Maybe it's the slight adjustments I've made on this out of the box. Lowering the suspension, adjusting the camber and stuff. All little tweaks that make a difference. This thing though, love it. I got a cheeky little speed run in as well in this car park. Short of space, but still over 40 mile an hour on 2S. This thing is going to go crazy on 3 and 4S. So obviously I've geared this for speed. So I did check the motor temps after that run, and they were a little bit warm. I wouldn't say that they were too hot though. Keep my hand on them, no problem at all. Everything still feels all right. Mesh seems good in there. Tyres held up well to that abuse. So I think what I'm going to do now is, well, let's empty all the gravel and dirt out of it. Give it a clean up, put the foams on. I'm going to adjust the camber on the rear. A bit of negative camber on the rear, I need to bring that out a little bit. I think the front's alright. It's got some slight toe out, which I think is probably better. So far, so good. Right, foam's on, 3S. Let's find somewhere to give it a speed run. So I decided before we went to do the speed runs, you guys would probably want to see what it was with maxed out gearing. So I put the 45 tooth pinions back on, and I spent a long time setting the mesh up, and I mean a very long time, getting that mesh perfect. Spending that time doing that mesh, it's eliminated all the cogging. Much better. Wow. Oh, that's so much smoother. So take your time, get that mesh sorted, and it'll run smooth as butter. So, 2-cell, silky smooth now, look, no cogging at all. Max gearing. That's full throttle straight away. It's nice and straight still. That's got to be over 50. Foams hook up really nice. Full throttle straight away again. So nice being able to go straight. Get right close, look. So more gears, more space. What do we get this time? 49. 49 on 2S. That is not bad. Right, we've got to switch to 3 now. That's going to be 70 plus, I reckon, if it hooks up. Let's see what happens. So still no cogging on 3. That's a good sign. So this is where things could get a bit squirrely. This is going to be way faster. There we go, full throttle. Wow, that's fast. I need to check with the gyro. I don't think... It's got some gyro input, but I switched it off. I could just see it like twitching a bit. I need to maybe completely disconnect it. Full throttle. Whoa, spun it out in the gravel. It's fast, but you can keep it straight. Yes. Right. Yes. 71 mile an hour. 114 kilometers an hour. The problem I got here is lack of space. As soon as I'm at full throttle, I'm having to come back off it again. No heat there at all, so proving that that max gearing, you can go even more with it. What a solid little ripper this thing is. So where are we going now with it? Well, some of you may seem surprised that it only done 71 or 72 mile an hour with them twin motors. And I mean, this thing out of the box on the single motor on 4S with the stock gearing will do over 70 mile an hour. But what you got to remember is adding another motor isn't going to increase its speed. It's just reducing the amount of strain on that single motor, which means you're able to gear up more, add more volts. Because they're not working as hard, they're not going to generate as much heat. So dual motor system won't make it go faster if you don't change anything else from a stock one. The extra weight of this and the foam tyres have made it handle really, really well. And I think on 4S with this stock setup with the high gearing, it's definitely 100 mile an hour plus. People have had the 917 with a single stock motor with that stock speed gearing do over 100, so I know it's capable of it. And I think because this one handles a bit better, more weight now with that setup, I think this thing is going to be a nice stable-ish 100 mile an hour. But in this video, I'm not taking it any further. But yes, I've put my sensible head on. This thing on 3S, like I mentioned just a minute ago on the speed runs, as soon as I got it maxed out, I was pretty much having to come straight off it. Very limited to space on that road. If I put 4S in it, I'm not sure I'll get full throttle. And if I try and push it even more, I'm probably going to destroy it. I don't want to destroy it. I want to make a few tweaks. I'm going to make up some brackets so that I can fix these down so they don't flap about. Try and get it a little bit lower. Then I'm going to find more space to run it 4S. And I think even 3S it had more than 72 in it. The batteries I used, not great. It's all I had at the time. I was in a bit of a rush and these are the ones that were quickest to charge up. So I reckon with some better batteries and a little bit more space to run it, I reckon you can push around 75 plus. But so far, I am super impressed with this. So good. I'll leave links in the description to all the various configurations. And this one, dual motor ready to run, would be $499. And they go all the way up to like $699, I think. But if you want something that just looks cool and you can rag it around a car park and have loads of fun, this is still $199. And it does 50 mile an hour on 3S without changing any gearing. So looking at what speed that got, this has got a slightly higher KV motor. So on 3S, with the same gearing as that, I think this will do that 120 kilometers an hour.